Hi guys. So as I said, I was gonna do a sit down video and talk about all my different health conditions. So I have quite a few different health conditions, and so I was trying to think which one to do first, and so I thought I'll do the one that's not so bad at the moment first, because it will be easier and quicker. So the first one I'm going to do is ulcerative colitis and IBS. So people think they're the same thing, but they're not. So IBS is irritable bowel syndrome and IBD is irritable bowel disease. Ulcerative colitis comes under irritable bowel diseases, as does Crohn's. You can have IBS as well as colitis, and I do. So I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in December 2001. And the reason I remember it so clearly is because in the September I had a miscarriage, and it wasn't just a miscarriage, it was a missed miscarriage. So I had got to 10 weeks pregnant, but the baby had died at 7 weeks and a few days. So I had to have an operation under general anaesthetic to obviously remove everything, because it was obvious my body wasn't going to do it naturally. So after that, we don't know whether it was the stress of it or what, we don't know. But after that, I started to experience bleeding from my back passage, my back passage, and I was getting really like a lot of mucus. And this is going to be TMI, so there is a warning. It is TMI. So yeah, the bleeding was getting worse. I would go to the toilet and just pass this mucus stuff and blood. I wouldn't actually even pass a poo. I was just back and forth. And I didn't get it seen to straight away because I was just so scared. I was convinced that it was cancer. I was just absolutely, I think because of having the miscarriage and everything as well, because that also started off my panic attacks. So that experience actually set off 2 of my now health conditions, but obviously that's another story. So yeah, so whether it was because I was more anxious or what, I don't know, but I was just convinced that I had bowel cancer or something like that. So I finally went to the doctor. He did a rectal examination and some blood tests. My blood test showed that my inflammation markers were sky high, and loads of other different things as well that they look out for with it. My examination obviously showed that I had blood and mucus and stuff. So my GP referred me to hospital for a colonoscopy, and that is where they put a camera up your back passage into your colon and intestines and everything, and just check basically. That is not a very nice procedure. First off, they have to give you an enema, which, if you've never had an enema, I mean, if you think when you've had a stomach bug and you keep having diarrhea and you have to keep running to the loo, oh my god, literally after an enema you cannot leave the toilet. It's really bad. And it was sort of embarrassing because it was on like this day unit type thing, and so you had to share toilets with everybody else, and it was just awful. So back then, obviously it's 2001, so it's quite some time ago, they would offer you pethidine during the procedure for pain relief and to relax you. But I'd had a bad reaction to it when I'd had Jessica, so I turned it down. I said I'll do it without anything, and somehow, I don't know how, but I did actually manage to get through the whole thing without any pain relief or relaxation or anything. So God knows how, because that'll follow in a minute. So yeah, they did that. They took several biopsies from different areas of my intestines and everything. Luckily, the biopsies came back non-cancerous, and the ulcerative colitis diagnosis was officially confirmed. So I was put on mesalazine, which is also known as Acecol, and I was on a massive dose of that. I think each tablet is something like 400 milligrams, or maybe even 800, I can't remember, but at one point I was having 12 of those a day. I also had to have oral steroids and also foam enemas and pessaries. They did try lots of different things, because there's pessaries, foam enemas, other, I don't quite know, it's like a cream, it's weird, but it's all up the back passage. I personally found the foam enemas work the best for me, because I think they seem to go a bit further inside. My colitis was so quite low down, it wasn't like spread all that high up, so I was lucky in that respect that it didn't go too far in. So yeah, the medication for that can give liver problems and things like that, so you had to have regular blood tests whilst on the medication for it, regularly checking inflammation markers and things like that. So yeah, I was in a flare for years. I remember I was really poorly when I was pregnant with Katie. In fact, Harry and Evie, through my pregnancies with those three, it came back. And I was actually hospitalised not only for the morning sickness, well, the all-day sickness, but also for my colitis. So it did get worse for me in pregnancy. They usually say it actually gets better during pregnancy, but unfortunately for me, not. So I've had a couple of times where I've had to be an inpatient in hospital because the oral treatments weren't helping. So I've had to go in hospital for intravenous steroids through a drip and like the medications through drips. I've since had 2 more colonoscopies, and both of them, they won't give pethidine now, because I actually requested it. They won't give it. They won't give it anything. But I managed to say to them, look, I have really bad anxiety and I can't cope with the pain. But just quickly, going back to that first colonoscopy, sorry. I was fine during the procedure. Obviously it was painful and I was glad when it was finished because I'd had enough, but afterwards the pain was atrocious because they pump air into you to help the camera pass, and it is absolute agony. So yeah, that was really the only bad thing after the first one. So from the second one, they had to stop before even halfway through, so they didn't get everything they needed because I just couldn't take it anymore. My third one, these were all done while I was an inpatient in hospital. So my third one, they gave me a drug. I don't know what it was, but apparently it was supposed to relax me and help with the pain, and apparently it made me forget what had happened. So I don't know what drug that was, but that's what it was supposed to do. That one was even worse. I think I probably lasted 10 minutes, and I had to say, please just get it out, I can't cope with this. And they had to stop it. So that was 2009. So that's like 10 years ago. So I am well overdue a colonoscopy. I'm not currently in a flare. I've actually been flare free for a good few years now, fingers crossed. I do still suffer with the IBS and IBD symptoms a lot. Like, I'll have bouts of diarrhea. Stomach cramps is another one that I get a lot of. And if I do have diarrhea, I have to go. There's no waiting about. If I've got to go, I've got to go. That's why we get a can't wait card. But as I found out, a lot of shops still won't let you use their toilets even if you have a can't wait card, which is really bad, to be honest. So yeah, as I said, but my last few blood tests, my inflammation markers have been up again, and my GP's been putting it down to like maybe an underlying infection, because obviously, as I've said before, I suffer a lot with sinusitis, so we've put it down to that. But I did mention to her that I keep having bouts of diarrhea, just random bouts, because most often I'm constipated because of all my pain medication. So I didn't think you could have a flare if you weren't bleeding and having the mucus, but apparently you can. The bouts of diarrhea and pain can be classed as a flare. So I've now got to do stool samples, and we're going to look into getting me reviewed by the gastroenterology people, just to check, because as I said, it's 10 years since I was last checked for anything going on. As for foods, a lot of people with colitis and things like that can't eat certain things. I'm the same. There's nothing in particular. It's hard to describe. The only thing I can put my finger on and say that I can't have is celery. I just get absolute griping tummy ache and diarrhea. That's the only thing I can actually say that sets me off. But other foods do, but it's something that's mixed in. It's if I've eaten like a meal, I don't know which part of that meal set me off, if you know what I mean. So yeah, although I'm not in a flare with the bleeding and the mucus and all that, because that is awful. Literally, if you fart, mucus would splatter, but it is disgusting. I told you, it's TMI. So although I'm thankfully not in that sort of flare, I am still in the sort where I could be fine and then I'll just get random diarrhea out of nowhere. I can be it can happen while I'm out. I can be somewhere and have even just a hot drink, and next thing I'm having absolutely terrible diarrhea. When we went to Turkey on holiday, it happened both times actually. I was fine on the flight, but as soon as we got off the flight, I had terrible diarrhea. And then coming home, the exact same thing happened. I don't know whether it was from being sat down for so long and being scrunched up, I don't know whether there was germ. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I had terrible diarrhea, and it was awful because obviously we weren't sure, like, because I know you used to have to put the toilet roll in bins, and there were bins in the toilets, and like, so, but I still put the toilet paper down the toilet, so it was like, and there was cleaners, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're getting off the coach, and I'm like, I need a toilet now, like now, and they're like, oh, go into the restaurant, you know, we've put on toasties and things for you, you know, leave your luggage there, you go, and I'm like, I need the toilet now. Yeah, so I still have that sort of side of it, even now, where if I have to go, I have to go, and I have messed myself. That does happen quite often. So yeah, and I mean, it is embarrassing as well. I always remember a time when I was still with Evie's dad. I mean, we were together, but I always remember it was when I was pregnant with Evie, and he took me out for a meal. We went to Wetherspoons, and in the car on the way back, my tummy started doing the griping, tummy ache and grumbling, and I thought, I know what's going to happen. I just know it. And I was like, please hurry up and get me home. And I was like, just telling him it was the baby, pain from the baby and everything, because I don't know, with him it was sort of like, we didn't talk about poo, it was just embarrassing. Whereas with my ex-husband, I actually pooed on him once. When I was pregnant with Katie, I was in bed and he made me laugh, and blood and mucus came flying out all over him. So that's how easy, when you're in a flare, that it happens. All I did was laugh, and he learned then never to be nearby if I was in a flare and making me laugh. But yeah, so he sort of understood it more. But Evie's dad, you know, I was just like, oh, you know, it's the baby hurting. And I literally had to run upstairs so fast to get to the toilet, and lo and behold, terrible diarrhea, and all I'd done is gone out for a meal. So yeah, it's not great, Eve. So even when you can say, yeah, okay, I'm not in a flare, I don't have loads of blood and blood clots coming out and mucus, because the mucus is awful, it's just constant. You can't fart because mucus will come out and blood will come out when it's really bad. But you know, you still have the urgency, that when you've had something that's not sat quite right with you, that you have to go. So yeah, and again, a lot of people think that it's all the diarrhea, but obviously constipation, yeah, it's my painkillers and things, but a lot of people do get constipated, and then they call it overflow diarrhea, because you sort of get a blockage and then it turns to diarrhea to get past the blockage. I have actually had that before, so they had to give me, it was the oddest thing that I had this terrible diarrhea and they were giving me like really strong laxatives. So that was when I was in hospital once as well. So yeah, you can have constipation still with it, so don't let anybody tell you you can't. So I think that's about it really. I can't have oral steroids anymore because they make my anxiety really, really bad. The intravenous ones do too, but I can tolerate those a bit more because they're a really large short dose. So if I do need steroids, I do have to go into hospital to have them intravenously now. But luckily I haven't had to have steroids for years, so that's fingers crossed, and I hope it stays that way. So yeah, at the minute I'm flare free, apart from, like I said, more the irritable bowel symptoms really at the moment, and I hope it stays that way for a while. But like I said, I am getting reviewed because obviously it is way overdue, and with the problems I've been having a bit of late, it's better to be safe than sorry. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna shut up rabbiting on now. I hope you found my story interesting. If I remember, I'll try and remember to put a link to the Colitis and Crohn's UK website in the description box. Get in touch as well if you suffer too. It's always nice to speak to somebody else that goes through the same thing. I do actually run a Facebook group as well. It's not very active, but hopefully maybe if enough people see this video and want to join, then we could get it a lot more active than what it is. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. As usual, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave me a nice comment down below, and I shall be back soon with another story of one of my health problems, and I shall talk to you soon, guys. Take care. Bye. Hi guys, right, just a really quick bit to add to this video about my ulcerative colitis. So I was sat there in my video, oh, I've been in remission for years, you know, I'm fine. As you know, I had a really bad sickness and diarrhea bug at Christmas, which I was in hospital for a week. Since then I've had, it's almost constant diarrhea, but I have had bouts of constipation as well, but I have had a lot of diarrhea, mucousy diarrhea, but no blood, that's not me, hence why I've not thought that that's what it was. But saw my GP yesterday as an emergency, and we now think I'm in a flare, but a different type of flare, where I'm not bleeding, thankfully, because obviously that then makes more problems because you get anemic and things. So fingers crossed it doesn't get any worse, but we're starting back on the foam enemas first off, because she wanted to put me on steroids, and I said no way, because A, I gain weight like a mad woman on steroids, and B, it turns me into a mad woman, because my anxiety and panic attacks just go through the roof. I go mad, so I can't have steroids. I just can't have steroids. So yeah, she wanted to put me on steroids, so I said no. So now I'm having the steroid enemas. So it is still steroid, but obviously it goes directly to where it needs to be. So yeah, needed to add this bit on because I'm not in remission anymore. Don't know whether it was the bug that's done it, whether the bug was the start of it. I haven't got the foggiest, but yeah, we think I'm in a flare. So the only thing is though, my CRP numbers aren't that high. My bloods have been out for months now. It's literally a nightmare. 1 minute my lymphocytes and things are raised and then they're okay, and then my inflammation markers are raised, and it's been up and down, and it doesn't seem to match my symptoms. Like on a time where I think I should be inflamed and everything, it comes back okay, and then other time it's just totally mad. My doctor is like pulling her hair out, she just doesn't have a clue. So she's referred me back to gastroenterology, so because I haven't seen them for years, as I said earlier in the video. So yeah, not in remission anymore by the looks of it. So just wanted to add this bit on. I did do a little clip yesterday, but I didn't have any makeup on and whatnot, and I just looked absolutely awful, but I might still add it because it shows, you know, that we do look poorly with all these illnesses and stuff. Just because we wear makeup doesn't mean to say we look well underneath. So if it's a bit of a weird video, you know why. So anyway, I will talk to you again soon about one of my other health conditions when I get round to it. Really must get on with doing them all. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you also suffer. You know, it'd just be nice to know of other people that suffer it, because it's still so unknown. Like I said in the first bit of the video, people just think of irritable bowel syndrome and they think, oh, it's just irritable bowel syndrome. It's not, it's irritable bowel disease. They're different things. And then I do have IBS as well, so yeah. But thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe and leave me a nice comment down below, and I shall see you soon. Take care guys, bye.